In this quick feedback video, we're going to be looking at leaving feedback in Google Classroom. There are different ways that you can leave feedback in Google Classroom for your students. So we're going to look at the three different options that I'm going to show you today. The first one is, first of all, if we go into the classroom that you would like to leave feedback and mark student work. Okay, so I'm going to look at my first assignment at the top of my stream. First thing that I will always do is look at how many students have submitted work, and I can do this by looking at the area that says work done. So here I can see that only one student has completed the task. So first of all, I click on the done, and then what I will do, I can see that the student has completed this work. So I can choose different options to go into the work and look and leave feedback. The first one that I'm going to show you is to actually click on the student's work, and that will open in a new tab. Once I look at the student's work, I will work through, in this case it's an assignment that the student has started. She's not completed it, but she's started it. So I'm going to look at, for the sake of this video, the first question that she's completed. So when it's finished loading, I shall scroll down to the question that I'm going to look at with you. So this is, we're actually going to leave some feedback in the document itself in this case. So if you just bear with me while I find the question. So the first question that the students answered, it's the only one in this and it's for the sake of the video, is I asked her to describe the 3 stages of the growth cycle of the hair. And the answer that she submitted is really, it's not a describe, it's the 3 stages of the hair growth cycle. So when I leave my feedback for this student, I'm mindful of how all the things that she needs to take into consideration to develop herself and to actually complete the question. So when I want to leave feedback in the document, I will select the area that I want to comment on, highlight it and click the comment button. Now in here I will put my feedback relating to the question that she's answered, and give her points of where she needs to improve any English and grammar. So as a rule, this is the feedback that I would generally apply, or I would consider. So this is an example of the things that really we should be saying to students. Feedback, whether formative or summative, should clearly link to the learning outcomes and encourage students to reflect on their learning. Good feedback should have a positive impact on the person receiving it. It encourages attention to the assessment task by focusing on the student's effort on the task. It motivates the student to continue to work by encouraging them to do the best they can. And it provides evidence of existing good practice so the student knows what and why they have done well. It clarifies the expected standards for the piece of assessment and signposts where and how to improve. And also areas of improvement for English and maths where appropriate to the content should also be included. So in this area, what I would do is where I've put this example of what feedback should contain would be my feedback to the student. So for example, for this question, I don't feel that she's described the stages. So my feedback would be, consider explaining the stages. You can use extensive research methods to do this, etc., etc. So that's the first way that I can leave feedback, and that's actually within the document and highlighting it. The next area that I can leave feedback is if I go to the student's name and I click on the student's name, and then you will see underneath on my screen there's a private comments button. So if there is extensive feedback, I can put little comments within the document, but I could also add a private comment here. So again, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to add a comment in the private comments that I've prepared earlier. So again, it's just an explanation of what feedback should include. I can then click on that, post, icon and click post, and that will send the feedback to the student. So that's another way that I can do the feedback to the student, and she will instantly see that. Okay. The other way that I can do that is to click on the little checkbox here and click on that. It will also then highlight the student's work. I can put a grading. So if I think that this was a summative assessment and she'd completed all the work, and I was going to give her a grade of a merit, I would mark her for 75% for our grading criteria, and then I would click the return button and return the student's work. When I click the return button, what happens is you then have the opportunity to write another private comment. So again, for the sake of the demonstration, I'll insert the examples of feedback, and then you just simply click return. And that will update the student's work, and the student will get that information.